LA Unified School District has placed yet another massive bond measure on the ballot, but they've not told us what it's really going to be used for. In 1997, there was the BB bond for $2.4 billion. In 2000, there was the K bond for $3.85 billion. And then in 2004, LA voters approved the R bond for another $3.58 billion. And now they want the voters to approve yet an even bigger bond of $3.95 billion. That's a total of over $13 billion. Full disclosure recently interviewed LA School Board member David Tarkovsky, and he spilled the beans that among other projects, this bond is going to be used to pay off old certificates of participation, COP bonds as they're called, which are now non-voter approved bonds. Listen to his explanation.
In this bond proposed to the voters this time, there's another $240 million of that certificates of participation that will be retired out, because the certificates of participation, you correctly say, are non-voter approved bonding funds, but they pay back from the general fund rather than from a general obligation. So the books and supplies and salaries for children and for the employees in the system are paying for the certificates of participation, which means that the already 49th out of 50 states limited money is diminished by the use of COPs. Putting it into the general obligation facilities bond means that if you use COPs for Belmont or King Drew or Bravo, which are construction projects, you should rightly pay for those out of general obligation bonds, not out of COPs. And if you have the opportunity to politically and properly, policy-wise, swap that out, you should do so. And that's what the board and the superintendent have been doing.
John Copal, president of the Howard Jarvis Taxpayers Association, is raising a red flag about the legality of the school district using general obligation bonds to pay off certificates of participation bonds. Listen to his chilling evaluation of that problem.
They're trying to get this bond, this $3.9 billion bond, passed under the provisions of Prop 39, which passed in the year 2000 and which we opposed. Prop 39 lowered the vote threshold for general obligation bonds for school districts from 2/3 to 55%. One of the provisions of that, however, did say that they had to specify the projects being constructed, and I don't believe that repayment of COPs is a legitimate reason for a legitimate purpose under Prop 39 bonds. I'll have to go back and check, but it seems to me that if they've already stated their intention to repay COPs, unvoted debt, with now voted debt, then that is not a legitimate, there may be a legal issue here that we'll have to explore.
Who approved the billions of COP bonds issued by the school district? Not the voters. They didn't even know about it. COPs are long-term debts the school district approved without disclosing how they were going to use the money. This is money they can spend without accountability, such as the $180 million administration building, and even more notorious, the black hole of schools, the Belmont Learning Center. Belmont alone has cost the taxpayers almost $400 million, and it's never been occupied, and instead has been partially demolished and is quietly being rebuilt. This fiasco is on its way to costing the taxpayers over $500 million. Former Special District Attorney and Belmont bond fraud prosecutor Tony Patchett was the first person to point this out to Full Disclosure. He explained that Belmont was financed with non-voter approved certificates of participation bonds.
The COPs that were used in Belmont was approximately $92 million were issued in COPs.
In a subsequent interview, former LAUSD Inspector General Don Mullinex tells us the legacy of the Belmont debacle.
In fact, we're still paying off COPs on Belmont, which is just sitting there 60% done, and they're tearing it down to rebuild it. We're still paying back out of general fund money COPs from 6 years ago.
But no, that's not going to happen. They want you to approve another bond to pay off Belmont, which continues to consume more and more money. According to John Copal, the president of the Howard Jarvis Taxpayers Association, the LAUSD is known statewide for its lack of financial accountability. Listen to his characterization of the LA Unified School District.
You know, the LA Unified School District has a budget that's higher, that's greater than 20 states. It's huge, it's monolithic, it is just a massive entity that we believe has ill-served the parents and children of the city of Los Angeles. If one adds not only the operational funds they get, which works out to over $10,000 per student per year, but adds on top of that the capital revenues available to them, where the children of this school district should be getting a Cadillac education, and they're clearly not. This is one of the most underperforming school districts in the nation.
Mr. Copal and the Howard Jarvis organization are fighting for the taxpayers on many issues. We ask him to evaluate the predicament facing the LA County voters once again, when they're being asked to approve another massive bond issue for the LAUSD.
From a taxpayer perspective, it is a travesty because we're not only, as a taxpayer advocate, we're not only interested in fair taxation, the revenue side, we're interested in the expenditure side, to make sure that the money being spent is being well spent. And the LA Unified School District continues to be a poster child for mismanagement and bad use of taxpayer funds.
What can be done about this? Here's what he recommended.
Quite frankly, I don't know what the answer is other than to start giving parents choice with respect to schools, either through vouchers, which is politically unpalatable, but certainly charter schools, and or breaking up the LA Unified School District. I think both of those are viable options for California.
We asked Mr. Copal if the voters could be assured that the Bond Oversight Committee will protect the funds if approved by the voters and assure that the money will be spent properly and legally. His answer was not reassuring.
One of my first acts as president of the Howard Jarvis Taxpayers Association was to remove our representative from the Measure BB Oversight Committee. We had, Measure BB, as you know, was one of the earlier bond proposals for the LA Unified School District. We were not going to ratify that process given the fact that it was proven beyond any reasonable doubt that the school district was outright lying to the Oversight Committee.
Where on earth is the mainstream media? Why aren't they interested in this multi-billion-dollar tax ripoff? Why don't they care about the LAUSD pushing another multi-billion-dollar bond to pay back a pile of secret bonds that they issued without public knowledge or scrutiny or approval? Who's controlling the newspapers and the local radio and television news agencies, causing them to turn a blind eye to this massive financial burden that is being quietly foisted upon the taxpayers? Why is it that only full disclosure is raising the alarm about this ongoing graft in our public institutions? We want to hear from you, the viewer. What do you think? Please respond to our survey. Number 1, do you think the voters should approve yet another $3.95 billion bond to help the LA Unified School District pay off the $500 million Belmont boondoggle? Are you willing to vote for a bond measure that will pay off the debts that were run up by the district without your knowledge and without your approval? Vote yes or no. And number 3, should we support a plan to force the Los Angeles Unified School District to be dismantled and broken up into several smaller and more accountable school districts? Yes or no? And number 4, should we urge lawmakers to pass a law requiring that bonded indebtedness, including COP bonds, must be approved by the voters who will have to pay for them? After responding to our survey, please leave your comments below. Thank you very much. As you can see, full disclosure is not in the business of distorting the news. We're not in the business of trying to convince our viewers, only to inform them. We're a nonprofit educational organization. We provide the platform and the vehicle where you can hear the various perspectives. It's up to you, the viewers, to determine what is right and what is wrong. If you want full disclosure to continue to shine the light of truth on important issues that the mainstream media just won't do, then we need your support. There are so many important issues facing our communities, our state, and our nation, and your tax-deductible contribution can help us get the word out to continue informing the public. You are invited to join the Friends of Full Disclosure. Your support will help assure that we can reach more and more people and improve the production quality of our programs. All you have to do is send us the much-needed support using PayPal. Just click on the link below and join at whatever level you can afford. Our goal is government accountability. When the people are informed on the issues, then the people in government must do what is right, because they know we're watching. Together we can make a difference, but we need your support to continue bringing you the news behind the news. Please contribute what you can. Thank you.